Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have some new makeup for you guys. I purchased a few items from the new Makeup by Mario collection. I actually saw this in store when I went into Sephora, and because I missed out on his brush set, I wanted to go ahead and get some of his makeup. I did not want to make the mistake of not picking some items up. So if you want to see what I purchased from his makeup line, then just keep watching. Alright guys, let's go ahead and get started. The packaging itself is very simple. It's black with white lettering. I'm kind of into the simplicity of it. On the front of the box, it says Makeup by Mario. And then on the sides of the boxes, it'll say for makeup or for eyes. So now let me show you what the actual packaging looks like. All the packaging comes in this white plastic type of packaging. It's a very shiny kind of lacquer finish. And on the front, it says by Mario. On the back, it has the name of the palette. And then right here, it'll say like matte 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. That's also what it says on the metallics palette as well. But these palettes are very sleek. Here is the packaging for the Prep set, and this one is for the highlighter. So yeah, so I really do like this. I think it's very simple but beautiful packaging. So now let's go ahead and get into what I purchased. I purchased 3 of the eye palettes. I purchased the Master Mattes. This is what this looks like. It comes with 12 shades. I really do love the shades in here. There's some cool tones, some neutral tones, and some warm tones in it. Then I purchased the Master Metallics. This palette also comes with 12 shades. Really pretty. And then the last palette I purchased was the Master Metals. Now these can be used dry or they can be used wet with the Master Metal Manipulator. And I'm going to try these today with that product. So let me show you the last 2 products that I purchased. And this one of course is the Master Eye Prep Set, and this is in the shade medium. So basically you have your cream products here and then a setting powder. And then the last thing I purchased was the Master Secret Glow. This is what it looks like, and this is supposed to like leave a glowy shine on your cheeks, or you can put it on your eyes. You can even put it on your lips as well. So we're gonna try this today. Of course, all these palettes come with a mirror, which is nice. Oh, I forgot to show you guys. The last thing is a Master Metal Manipulator. This is like a mixing medium. It's supposed to be used just like it. So I've never really tried a mixing medium. So I wanted to go ahead and pick this up and try it with the Metals palette. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. As you can see, I have done my foundation. I've done my eyebrows, blush, bronzer, all that good stuff. So we're just gonna focus on the eyes today, and I am gonna dip into every one of these products because I want you guys to be able to see what they actually look like on the eyes, and of course how they perform. So we're gonna start with the Master Mattes palette first, and then we're gonna go in with the Master Metallics palette. And then last but not least, we're gonna go in with this palette here, which is the Master Metals palette, and I'm going to use the manipulator with that. Really excited to use that because I wanna see if these really come off as they say they do online, which is supposed to come off like a foil on the eye. So the first thing I want to place on my eye is the Master Eye Prep Set. Like I said, this is in the shade medium. What I think I wanna do is go ahead and try the lighter shade here. Basically what I'm gonna do is go ahead and use my finger. My hands are clean. I'm just gonna place that on the eyelid. Now I did say that these 2 here are cream products, and this is the setting powder. So I'm placing that all over the lid, and it's going on very creamy. It's not tugging, it's not pulling. I think I'm gonna use the other shade, the darker shade, on the other eye, only because we're just testing everything out today. Of course, I'm not gonna be able to use all the shades in the palette, but I'm gonna try to use as many as I can today. And I will show you guys swatches at the end. Now, this shade is closer to my skin tone, which I do love. I love that it's closer to my skin tone, but I do like the brightness of this because a lot of times when you wear a brighter type of primer, it allows those shades to pop. So yeah, I like both of them so far. They're not creasing, they went on very smoothly, so far so good. I am taking the Sonia G Blender Pro brush, and I'm going into that setting powder. I'm gonna go ahead and set both of those primers. It's setting nicely. Sometimes when I put a setting powder on top of my primer, it tends to skip, but this one's not doing that. It's setting it really nicely. We're gonna go ahead and start with the Master Mattes palette. I am gonna go into this shade right here. I'm gonna put that in my crease on one eye. nice neutral type brown shade. I'm gonna go in with this deeper shade right here, focus a little bit more into the crease itself. I'm going in with the Sonia G Crease Pro. I think I'm gonna go ahead and take this brown right here. Just gonna put that on the outer corner. Just kind of blend it into the center of my crease. Just to deepen up that area a little bit. All right, so now we're gonna go in with the Master Metallics palette, and I'm reading as far as the suggested usage on Sephora's website. It says apply the shadow with your fingers to achieve beautiful intensity, or for a more detailed application, use the E4 brush, which is one of his brushes sold separately, to pat and build the shadow. Wet the brush for extra intensity. It says the lighter shades like metallic 1, 5, 7, and 8 also work as a face and body highlighter. And then it says for an amplified metallic finish, you can put Master Secret Glow, which I have, below or over your shadow with your fingers. Okay, so we're gonna go in with the brush first, and if we want more intensity, I'll wet the brush or we'll go in with that Master Secret Glow on top. But we're gonna go ahead and use, let me see, what do I wanna use? I think I'm gonna go ahead and use this green right here. So I'm gonna go in with that with the Sonia G Builder Pro. And I'm going to just put my brush in there. Now these are the consistency is very creamy. I actually put a dent in it when I use this brush. So I don't know if you guys can see, but there's an actual dent right there in it. So hopefully this goes on very creamy and not chunky. So let's go ahead and just pat, like you said. Oh my gosh, you don't even need, look at that. Honestly guys, this is super intense. And just out of curiosity, I think what I want to do is wet the brush to see what else I can get out of this shadow. But right now, looking at it, it's super intense. And it blended in so nicely. Wow, okay. Now I'm curious. So I want to go ahead and wet the brush. I'm using my Smashbox So Chill Coconut Primer Mist. And I'm going back into that product. Wow, and it looks like it packed on quite a bit, and I barely dipped my brush in there. Oh yes. And I'm sure we all knew this, that when we wet the brush, it would intensify it way more, and look, it has. Look how gorgeous that looks. Oh my gosh, I love this. Okay, so far with this shade, I'm super impressed, and I'm also impressed in the fact that there's no fallout at all. Okay, so let me do this because again, I'm curious and I want to see how this works. I'm going to go in with the Master Secret Glow. It's this right here. And basically what it says online is that you use your fingers with this. So I'm just going to grab a little bit. It's the texture is very much like a balm, kind of like Vaseline. So I'm just going to put a little bit on top of that and see what it does. It actually really didn't do much for me. I kind of just like it when I wet the brush or when I use it by itself. I'm gonna go ahead and use my finger in there a little bit. This shadow feels very, very creamy. So I put a little bit on my finger and I'm just gonna tap on top of that. I honestly feel like that Master Glow kind of muted it, you know? It didn't give it any more intensity or the intensity that I thought it would. So I'm just going on top of that Master Glow with the shadow. I really feel like putting the shadow on top of the Master Glow probably intensifies it a little bit more than me putting the Master Glow on top of the shadow. So yeah, that looks really, really pretty. Love the way that looks. So I really prefer that metallic shadow just using it dry or wetting the brush. So now we're gonna go ahead and go back into that matte palette because we're gonna go ahead and set that eye up for these Master Metals. So let me go ahead and just kind of clean off my brushes a little bit because I might want to use these brushes again. So I'm taking the Sonia G Blender Pro and I'm going into this shade right here. Place that in my crease and a little bit above my crease. This is a warmer tone shadow. The other ones I used were a little bit more neutral. Okay, so now I'm gonna go into the Sonia G Crease Pro. I'm gonna go into this shade right here, and I'm taking that just in the crease. I think I'm gonna go ahead and leave the eyes like that for the eye like that for now, because I'm gonna go in with the Master Metals, and I want to use this really pretty like bronzy shade right here. So basically what it says is you take the spatula, there's a removable tray right here. Let's try to get it out for you. So this is a removable tray that comes with it. And then basically what you do, it says to scrape off some from the palette, put it in the tray, and add a little bit of the manipulator. So I'm gonna take the spatula, I'm gonna scrape a little bit of the top layer of it just tells you to take a little bit off, and then put it in the tray. So I took a little bit and I put it in the tray. Now I'm gonna take the manipulator and I'm going to drop some into the tray where I have the shadow. I'm just gonna put like 1 or 2 drops. And then I'm gonna take the spatula and mix that around in the tray. And it is like liquefying. It's not very thick, it's pretty thin. But again, I didn't put that much in there. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take this MAC 242 brush and I'm going to dip it into that shadow. And then I'm gonna put it on my eyelid. And it's supposed to be a metal foil type shadow, which it does look like that. And it's going on really easily. So that little bit of powder really actually was enough to cover the entire eyelid. And there's still a little bit left in my tray, but that's it right there. Really pretty. It is a little bit of work and it can get messy, so just make note of that. You have to scrape the product off of this and put it in here. And I just felt like scraping it just caused more of a mess. It got into where the tray is. I'm gonna swatch the shade next to it, which is a copper shade. And that is super, super beautiful right there. I'm gonna show you on the back of my hand. Now you can use these dry or you can use the manipulator. And you know what I'll do is I'm gonna go ahead and put some of this yellow with my finger. And look at that, how intense that is. I'm gonna go ahead and just dab this on the center of my eye. Oh my gosh, look at that. That's insane, guys. That is insane. Oh my gosh, I love this. Let me swatch the rest on it. And there's still more left. Look at that. I'm going to, again, use the manipulator to show you guys how it would look like, how it would look if I just took a little piece of the shadow. I'm not gonna scrape it, I'm just gonna dig in there because I feel like scraping it just causes so much mess. Okay, I only have just a tad bit of the shadow. I don't know if you guys can see it. And I'm gonna put 1 little drop here. And then I'm going to take the spatula, because you can use the spatula or you can use the brush to mix it. Okay, so now I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to actually place this on my hand so I can swatch it for you. There it is right there. That's the top one right here. It's this shade here. Look at it. That's insane. You guys, you could wear these on their own and just be done for the day. That's how beautiful these are and how intense these are. They just look really good. Only because I want to see what this shade looks like. The blue shade, it's like an icy blue. That's it right there. I want to go ahead and just place this on the center. I know it's not going to go with the eye look, but that's okay. I'm going to take this off later. That is simply gorgeous. I am super impressed with these guys. I did not imagine that this would work as well as it does. I do want to mention that these don't have any glitter in them. They don't even have like micro glitter in them. They're very foil-like shadows. So I did want to mention that. So the last product I want to show on my face is the Master Secret Glow. And this is, of course, what it looks like. But I'm going to go ahead and just take a little bit. And it's supposed to give you that like glowy highlight effect. I am going to put that right here on my cheekbone. I don't really see like a highlight effect. It does have like a slight glow to it, but it's nothing that can't be achieved with like, I don't know, just like a regular balm, you know what I mean? I could probably use my e.l.f. Ride or Die lip balm and get the same effect. I honestly thought it was gonna be like a little bit more, I guess glowy with a little bit more sheen to it to look like a highlighter, but I really don't feel that it's doing that. I really feel like it's just clear, and I feel like it's really not highlighting at all. So I don't know about using this for my face. I do like it for the eyeshadow effect that I showed you guys on the back of my hand with the metallics. So I may try that just by itself on my eyes and then put the shadow on top. So I don't want to give up on this just yet. I just know that I'm not going to use it for my cheekbones or for a highlighting effect. Okay guys, so what I'm going to do is take this off, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to do a quick makeup look using these products, and I'm going to run through that fairly quickly, and then we're going to go ahead and get into my final thoughts of these products, and then I'll show you the swatches. So stay tuned. I'll be right back. Okay guys, let's get into my thoughts of these products. I want to start off with the product that I feel is most difficult and that I feel that I will rarely ever use, and it is the Master Secret Glow. So when I did the eye look, you guys noticed that I did put this on first, and then I went in with a metallic shadow. I used my finger and I used a brush, and I will say when I used this product, the shadow actually skipped. So it was very hard to blend the shadow into my eyelid, and I gave it a fair shot by using my finger and using a brush, and still it did not blend very well. It just skipped on my eyelid. It was very hard to pack on the shadow. So this is something that I am probably going to take back because I will never use it. It didn't go on well as a highlighter. So unfortunately, this did not work for me. Now let's get into all the other products. The eye primer is perfect. I think this 2-in-1 is going to be something that I'm going to use on a constant basis. I love the primer when it goes onto the eyes. It doesn't pull, it doesn't skip, it feels really creamy, and it does not crease. So I really love that. If you don't want to use the setting powder, I think the primer itself, the creamy primer, will go on well and it'll stay on well. Now I'm one to set my primer, so this powder up here set it perfectly. I really feel like when I blended it in that it didn't skip on the primer, which sometimes, like I mentioned, when I use a setting powder with my primer, I do feel like sometimes it skips. But these two products here go well together. They blend well together. And so yeah, I really love this product so far. So for the shadow palettes, oh, let me mention this. I can't find the cap to this, but this is the Manipulator. The Manipulator works really, really well with those metal shadows. It works insanely good with these shadows. But guys, also know that these shadows by themselves are very highly pigmented. So you really don't even need the Manipulator unless you want that liquid metal look. You probably won't even need this. So these swatch very nice on their own, but this right here with this is perfection. When I put the Master Glow on my cheek, my hair continues to stick to it. So if you keep seeing me pull it back, that's why. So let's get into the eye palettes. I loved every eye palette. I think the metals came off beautifully. I've already spoken about these, so I'm not gonna go too much into these, but I do love these metal shadows. I think they could be worn by themselves and just give that really cool pop to the eye. And then for the matte shadows, this is like the perfect matte palette. I think it has every shade you need in there for a transition shade, for an all over shade, for a smoky eye look, it's all there. So I really do love the formulation and the pigmentation and the blendability of this palette. I think this palette is just like your one and go palette. This is a palette that you could use on a daily basis. And you could also, like I said, amp it up for night with that smoky eye look. So really love this shadow palette. Now for the metallics, these metallics come off so beautifully on the eye. I found that it had a little bit more pigmentation than what I thought. This seemed like it would be very light on the eye, but I went ahead and placed it right here in the middle, right near that darker shadow. And I think it blended in beautifully. It had that pigmentation. It just looks really glam on the eye. So I really do love the formulation of these as well. I think they're very pigmented and they pack on the eye so beautifully, especially when the brush is wet. You guys saw when I put that wet brush into that green shadow, it was insane. It was so good. So yeah, so this is a really good palette as well. So as far as the Mario by Makeup products that I used today, I think the only thing that I had trouble with was that glow. I think that product is a little hard for me to work with, but everything else worked out beautifully. I love the way these shadows go on. I love the brightness of the shadows, the creaminess of the shadows, and the fact that they're all easy to use. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Take care, and we will talk to you on the next one.